much for joining us. I'm Jasmine Miner, Director of Business Development here at Showtime Auctioneers, and I have the absolute pleasure of doing a little Q&A with our CEO, Charles Wampler.
Very excited to do this. First time, so a little nervous, but I'm feeling good.
Okay, I love that.
Right.
We're going to start off with some fun questions that we already got in from
Okay.
some people.
Okay.
And then throughout the show, if you have any questions, send them in and
And we are on YouTube, Facebook, Kick, everything.
every
National TV right here.
revolutionary.
Yes, I know you rehearsed this, so you're ready to go. Let's go.
I'm ready to go.
Awesome.
Ready to go.
Yes,
Let's do it. Let's start with a fun one.
like it.
What is the most unusual or unexpected piece of equipment you've ever seen?
Oh my gosh, that's an interesting question. The most unusual object I've ever sold. You know, in Las Vegas years ago, when I was a ringman at shout out Cruise International, no longer a thing, but used to be. We sold Pam Anderson's RV. It was one of those silver ones. What are those? Airstream. Yeah, Pam Anderson's Airstream. Yeah, so I think that would be about the most unusual thing I've sold.
Did you get her?
Did not. Yeah, she sadly wasn't. Just the Airstream. Just the Airstream.
That's a cool one.
I thought it was pretty cool. Thank you.
If you could auction off, this kind of goes perfect. If you could auction off any celebrity's equipment,
Oh.
whose would you want to handle and why? Pam Anderson, obviously.
Yeah,
not
just
very
off the
different.
top of my head. I mean, you'd have to think of like somebody like Jay Leno, who has like an incredible car collection.
That's a good one.
So, you know, I know he has hundreds of classic cars, maybe thousands, who knows. But, you know, somebody like that would be.
You can get
I've never really
some
thought about
stuff.
that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that'd be great.
that would be fun. Okay, now we have some hard-hitting questions.
Oh, hard hitting. Love it.
All about the business.
Okay, let's go.
People are dying to know.
People are dying to know. Love it.
What
Hopefully not too
type
many.
of items do you typically auction off?
Yeah, so here at Showtime Auctioneers, we typically are auctioning off oil and gas assets, transportation, truck, trailers, all different kinds, right? So RGNs, flatbeds, all the way down to utility trailers. Oil and gas equipment would be coiled tubing, well servicing, drilling, and we sell, you know, right down to the handling tools, all the way up to the complete rig. We also sell real estate, so you know, a wide array of things, but mostly here at Showtime, heavy equipment.
Okay. Has it always been like that? How did you kind of get started in the auction business?
Well, that's a great question, Jasmine. Did you come up with these yourself?
Yeah.
Um, you know, so when I was, let's see, 18, 19 years old, I went to auction school and really enjoyed it. And I, you know, met the owner, Dean Cruz. He owned, I think at the time, the auction school, Reppert's. And so I went to Reppert's 2 week school. After getting with the school, he asked me if I wanted to work the ring. So not the auctioneer, but stand out there, yep, 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 the whole deal, you know. And I started doing that every weekend. I was going to auctions all over the country, classic car auctions. It was great. You know, I didn't make a ton of money, but it was, you know, just the most incredible places. Got to fly with Dean everywhere because we both lived in Indiana. And a lot of the help that we used back then were from different states. So I would always get to go up and travel with Dean in his jet, you know, and I'll never forget the first time. It was hilarious. So I get there and I'd only flown once in my life, you know, and all I know is I'm flying on his plane and this is all new to me. So I get there and they're like, well, there's the plane right there, just going out there. And I'm like, okay, all right, I can do this. So I go out there and, you know, it's like, do I get on the plane? Like, what do you do? You know, like, I don't know. I mean, you know, I just usually hand somebody my ticket and go through the,
So it's an open tarmac. and
right. Yeah.
Got it.
Small airport, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Yeah.
So I go out there and I just stand by the stairs, and here comes Dean. You know, and he's got all these bags with him, and he shakes my hand, and I'm like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And he's like, "What's the flight time?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't have any clue," you know. And he's like, "Well, you're the pilot, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm the ringman." He's like, "Well, then get on the plane." And so that was my first experience, and we flew down to Howard Brandon. We did a liquidation for him down in Murray, Tennessee, I think somewhere in there, wherever Murray State University is. I think it's Murray, Tennessee, maybe Murray, Kentucky. Um, but we did the sale. It was great. Loads of people, huge crowd. And then every weekend, I just started, going to all these classic car sales. And like I said, ton of fun, but you didn't make a whole lot of money,
Mhm.
because you were just a ringman. So
Mhm.
I wanted to make a little more money. So I got with Jim Ritchie, who now owns Superior Auctioneers.
Mhm.
And at that time, he had Cruise Energy. And so he offered me a job at 19. I got to pick up in a U-Haul, drove all the way to Odessa, Texas, and the rest is history.
Awesome. Okay. So you've had experience in a lot of different fields with different auction companies. What do you think sets apart this company from anything else in the industry?
I think one thing that separates this company, at least I hope it does, is what we're doing right now. Right. I mean, I got into the auction business about 3 years ago. We've had another few other companies for 10 or 15 years now, but the auction business is relatively new. And, you know, the first two or three sales we had live auctions, come to the auction, spend a lot of money on food, had a great auction down at the Drover in the stockyards, served fillets, and I think three people showed up, right? But we had a really successful sale. So I think what we bring is that we understand where the business is going. And in this sector, it seems to be going more towards uh, entertainment and people watching online. And nobody's really going to the sale. When I first started, we had the catalogs done, 2, 3 weeks in advance, send out mailers. Then they come, they look at the equipment. And a lot of people did that. We used to even have like the day before we would have a barbecue or whatever, and a lot of people would come. And now it's just a different market. I mean, it's all about pictures and the experience they have while they're bidding that I think sets us apart than just a standard go to the auction and bid.
Yeah.
It's really changed in the industry.
Yeah. So, what is the process like for somebody to co sign an item for auction with us?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to get online and fill out a form, give us your information. We send you an agreement. We go over any terms. That's another thing that sets us apart. We're very negotiable on our terms where we can be, and where it makes sense.
Really
Um,
nice.
so we try to accommodate our sellers as best we can
Yeah.
instead of putting you in a box that's one size fits all, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. What is the typical turnaround time when an item is consigned to when it's auctioned off?
I would say, from the time of consignment, your item's going to be sold within roughly 30 to 45 days. And then you're going to be paid out no later than 30 days. But that's something that's unique about us as well. If we collect the funds in a week, then that's when you're going to get paid. And that's a big difference to some of our competitors who want to sit on your money for 30 days or even longer. And you're sitting there waiting for your funds. I mean, these people are business people most of the time that we sell for, and they want to get their money working so they can make more money. And that's the whole idea, right? Not to
Yeah.
sit and have to wait for what it's going to bring, then wait to see when you're going to get paid. And it's just a lot of unknown. I mean, we collect probably 90% of the funds within, gosh, sometimes 48 hours, 72 hours. So
Mhm.
it's very quick, and we want to get the money back into our customers' hands as quickly as possible.
Yeah. So we have an upcoming auction in
Correct?
2 days, November 21st. Can you walk us through kind of what the bidding process is like, how they can start bidding right now?
Sure, they can go to proxybid.com.
Mm-hmm.
The easiest way is just Google Proxy Bid, Showtime Auctioneers. It'll come right up. You can register to bid. I believe you have to put a credit card down, but that's it. It's very simple. And then you just go to the lots you want to bid on and start bidding. And we also have bidding available on equipmentfacts.com as well. FACTS.
Perfect.
Well, I just want to be sure.
No, that's great.
I
I
mean, if they
love
go
the
to the wrong place, they
clarification.
can't bid. That's a
Right.
problem. So we want to be sure they get the right information.
You're so caring
I try
for
to.
everyone.
Thank you.
What piece of equipment for this upcoming auction are you most excited for?
Most excited for in this sale, we've got some really good coiled tubing assets. Those have been hot. We've sold a lot of those overseas. Nitrogen assets as well, power swivels, pumps, things that we should see a lot of action on. Should be a lot of bidding, and those are typically the funnest to sell, at least when you're the auctioneer.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have any questions coming in at all?
Loads of questions. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah. So, how did you get started?
How did I get started? I kind of covered that, but I was the short story of this. I was working just out of college. I went to college, did a 6 month stint, and as I tell people, they didn't really want me anymore, and I really didn't want to be there. So I went back home, got a couple jobs that really didn't have a lot of opportunity. Worked in one factory. That was an interesting time for sure. But it just really wasn't what I wanted to do. I started my grandma one day, and she's like, you never shut up. You just talk all the time. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. She's like, you should be an auctioneer. So I was like, okay, I kind of like that. Seems like a lot of fun. I grew up going to livestock auctions. So, I really got to see how that all worked and the ringmen and how they play off of the auctioneer and vice versa. And it's really an impressive deal, especially when you have a good auctioneer, a good ring crew. It's really like a whole orchestrated deal. It's really neat. So I went to school, got hired out of the school basically, started working the ring for about a year, year and a half before I moved to Odessa. And I think it was like 19 years old. Um, I know I wasn't 21, so I must have been like 19. And yeah, I worked for them for 10 years, learned the business, and then had an opportunity to start having auctions myself. And so that's where we're at.
I have a pretty cool question that somebody
I love
asked.
cool questions.
What strategies should bidders use to be successful in a live auction?
Ooh, what strategies should bidders use to be
Can you
successful?
even have a
I think you
strategy?
can.
Okay.
I think you can. Personally, I prefer if I'm bidding on a piece of equipment in some auction, I do like to be aggressive.
Hmm.
I'll have a number set in my mind. Let's say it's 20,000, but I just hammer it until I get to my limit and then I quit. But it gives because they can see when you bid right, and then if you just bid right again, they see that, and I think so. I
Kind of
think there's
intimidates them a
some
little bit.
it can,
Hmm.
it can. You also can enter a max bid. So if I'm asking for 25,000, and this happens some, you might think it wouldn't, but it does. We're going $100 bids, and a guy's at 20,000, 20,100, 20,200, and he's willing to pay 30 grand. He may just put 25,000 in and see how real the other bidder is. I mean, is he that
Mm.
aggressive into the piece of equipment or not? And so I think you can do some of that, but also I would say on the flip side of that, something I don't personally do, but it can be frustrating, are the people who wait till the auctioneer is just getting ready to sell and they bid, and then the other guy bids quickly, and then they just wait till right at the end and bid, and so that can
Mm.
frustrate people, I guess. So I think there is some strategy in it. Is there like a you know top 10 ways to do it? I don't know, but I think
Yeah.
everybody definitely has their style, and there's a lot of them too that'll do that. They'll bid, and they just quit, and that's it. And then there's some people you can get in, and I would say it's about 50-50. A lot of people you can get back onto bidding, and then others, when they're done, that's it.
Okay. So no one style beats all.
I don't think so. I think to each their own.
Okay. So you haven't seen any strategy overcome
No, I
the
mean,
other.
the aggressively bidding, some people like to think about it, then they bid, and then if the guy just bids right back quickly, I think it can show a sign of strength, maybe. But ultimately, if somebody really wants the piece of equipment, if it's worth 40,000 to them, then what's it worth to the other guy? And that's
Yeah.
ultimately what it comes down to, regardless of how you're bidding.
Yeah.
We all have our bankrolls we're bidding out of. We all know what we can pay, what we can't pay, what makes sense for us, what makes sense for somebody else. I do always get a hoot though out of it when you'll see people bidding on something in Pakistan. And it's like, goodness, I mean, somebody surely could make money on that piece of equipment here. He's going to pay $25,000 to get it there.
Right.
So there's got to be some margin there, but sometimes it's just not the way it works.
Speaking about getting it overseas,
Yes.
can you explain kind of the shipping process? So if somebody is in Texas and there's an item that they want in North Dakota, what would that process look like?
We're always glad to help. We don't offer shipping per se, but if somebody calls in, we have brokers that we trust and that we work with. They're local people right here in the Fort Worth area, and they've got a tremendous record of getting things where they need to go. So we can definitely help with that. It's not something that you can just order on our website or something like that. But if you call in and say, I bought lot 50 and I needed to get it to Canada. I think you just helped with one going to Canada from North Dakota. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, we can definitely help. We blew a tire out on that. We fixed it, got it
Mm-hmm.
going. So, and, I would say that that shouldn't be underestimated because a lot of these companies, they're just not going to help you transport it anywhere. They don't really care, right? You
Mm-hmm.
bought it. Now you deal with it,
Mm-hmm.
which I understand that, but we want to offer as much service as we can. And a lot of times it's just a short phone call.
Yeah.
Anastasia. Ooh, most bids. I guess thinking about this sale, that's a tough one because it's not always the we had a sale maybe 4 or 5 ago now, and we had a power swivel that it was just incredible. It just these two guys just uh, kept bidding. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
forever, and it was just those two, and it was probably like 100 bids. I mean, it was incredible. And it just kept going and going and going, but that wasn't necessarily the hottest item per se in the sale. So I don't know. It's going to be something that I mentioned earlier, maybe coil tubing. That seems to have a lot of interest overseas. We have a tremendous presence in Dubai with a lot of those buyers, and a lot of times they get going at it. It's really cool to think that when I started, we would show up to a room like this, we'd have a crowd, and that's all you'd have. There was no internet bidding,
Mm-hmm.
right? And now we have internet bidding, and I'm sitting up here to no crowd, and I've got people bidding all over the world. We even get multiple people from Dubai
Mm-hmm.
bidding against each other. It's really incredible. Oh gosh, I mean Venezuela, Pakistan, Poland, uh,
Mexico.
Dubai, UAE, Mexico for sure, Canada for sure. We've had some unique ones. Egypt. We've had some bids from Egypt. I think that's about it. Quite a few.
That's a lot.
It's pretty impressive. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
And then you think that they're up at I don't know what time it is over there, but it's certainly not in the middle of the day,
Right.
right? It's like 3 a.m. or something,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just sitting on their phone bidding at Showtime, probably having a coffee or something. So it's really incredible where the industry is going for sure.
Yeah. What do you see in the future as the next step?
I see just taking the entertainment value to a next level,
Mm-hmm.
getting people to watch your auctions much like they would a show on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a lot of things. One thing we're going to bring in on Thursday, and then in December, sale on the 11th, we're going to do gifts. Santa is going to be coming to Showtime Auctioneers.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have things like half buyer's premium for that lot. So if I open a gift and it's got half buyer's premium, that lot gets only half the buyer's premium charged. Okay. There'll be hats, there'll be gift cards, all types of things. So I think, getting the entertainment value up a little to where it's not such a just boring, monotonous thing to sit and listen to and you're going to fall asleep, you know.
Because auctioneering is such a cool thing to watch in general. So
Yeah.
upping
And
the ante.
and it really used to be a lot more, to be honest. I mean, when you went to
Yeah.
these auctions, I mean, like I said, they were just packed. I mean, people would be standing room only. You just could see their hands back there when they're trying to bid.
Yeah.
And it was just incredible. I mean, it's a ton of fun. And then you'd get people to see like their buddy bidding, and then that becomes a thing,
Mm.
or maybe not a thing. Some people wouldn't bid against each other,
Mm.
right? So, and we always had to watch that, but so it goes both ways in regards to that. But I think that it's very exciting. Maybe get some things where they can interact with the auction on the broadcast. So whether they go on, they can click a button, or they can see a video of it running while they're on one page instead of having to go through each time. There's a lot of tech that can be thrown into it, I think.
Yeah. And we're going to be launching merch.
Yes, merch. Very excited. Shirts, hoodies, everything.
Everything.
Sticker packs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting time to be at Showtime for sure.
It really is.
Agree. Anything with value. Okay, anything with value. If we need to sell sports cars, sports cards, doesn't matter. I'll sell it. Okay. And when you're an auctioneer, you really can sell just about anything. I mean, when I started out working for Jimmy Ritchie and Dean Cruz, Daniel Cruz, all these, phenomenal auctioneers, I mean, they could sell anything. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a horse to the carriage. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it just didn't matter. And, product knowledge is definitely something that I believe in. Like, you need to know a little bit about what you're selling. I think it's very evident, especially in the oil and gas space. There's very few other auction companies that have auctioneers that understand what they're selling in the oil and gas space, and it's just very unique. I mean, if you don't know what a kill truck is, or um, you know uh, power swivel, or a triplex pump, I mean, if you don't know these things, they're just not things you're going to just know or come in contact with. They're very unique. And so when I spent 10 years at Cruise, that's what was, great. I learned all the equipment. I started out as just a hand moving around stuff, learned how to drive the forklift, all this. And I'm not saying it's the best way to learn, but the way to learn there was just throw you in it and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably going to screw up a lot, but that's okay. So I think I forget what her question was, but oh, what do we sell? We really sell anything. I mean, anything of value, we want to sell.
Okay. Would we put that in its own separate auction? Like,
Yeah,
would you just
absolutely.
have like a miscellaneous auction?
Yeah, absolutely. We're not going to sell coil tubing unit and then a Mickey Mantle rookie card, right? I mean, although if it was requested, I could, but no, absolutely not. You would have a collectible sale. You would have a real estate auction, whatever. Now we do every once in a while sell a piece of property, maybe from an oil and gas company that we're selling in the
Yeah.
auction. But if it was sports cards or sports cars or anything like that, you would have a standalone auction.
Yeah. A collectible auction would be fun. So
Another
send
thing
us
to,
stuff.
you know, just thinking here that's kind of nice is all of our software, all of our auction software can be adapted to any type of equipment.
Hmm.
We can put pictures of jewelry and all this in our auction software or heavy trucks. It
Yeah.
really doesn't matter.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Another question that we have is, so you had mentioned that you had learned to just talk fast, and that's kind of what brought you into the auction. Do you practice? Do you work on it? Like, what do you do
Yeah,
to
great question. So,
speak so fast?
not really. It was something I did, maybe driving down the road or something after auction school, but I kind of got into a different side of the business, that being sales. So when I was at Cruise, I was a territory manager. And so my responsibilities were to consign the equipment, produce the auctions, and the auctioneering I never really did. So the way that happened about 3, 4 years ago, I had a consigner or a seller who wanted to sell his stuff at auction, and he's like, "I know you're an auctioneer, and I want you to do it." So that kind of pushed me into the auction business,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't going to tell him no. I don't like to make money,
Mm-hmm.
and so I've been around auctions all my whole life. So practicing, no, but like if you hear it all the time, and I was fortunate enough when I started to be around world class auctioneers. These weren't guys and nothing wrong with smaller auctioneers or anything like that, but these guys were just world class. And so when you're around that, and if you're able to kind of be a sponge and pick up on it, it kind of becomes second nature, I would say.
Could you show us?
Show you how to auctioneer.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go, Jen. You have a microphone?
I don't, but I want to hear it. Go ahead.
25. Would it go 30? Would it go 40? Would it go 50? Would it go 75? Now 100. Now 200. Now 300 on Anastasia. Praise the Lord. I got 350 in Puerto Rico. And now 400. 450. Would it go 500? Now 750. Now 1,000. Sold right there to Jen. It's showtime, baby. How was that, Jen?
That's perfect. Jasmine,
Thank you.
do you have anything to say? I can't follow up with that.
You're
I
not doing
can't
that?
beat that.
You're the backup auctioneer in this next sale.
Okay, I can try it.
Yeah. Well, you can count. So, I mean, that's all it is. Just counting.
I'm gonna
25. Would you bid 30?
do it again, and I'll really try.
25. Would you bid 30?
But I have to say it really fast.
Well, not yet.
Oh, okay. 25. Would you bid 30?
There. And now you
Okay.
just 25 would have been 30, 30, 30 would have been 35, 5, 5 would
I
have been
feel like you
35.
skip vowels.
Well, that's takes time.
Okay,
That takes time.
we'll work on it.
Let's face it. Like if you just busted out and you were better than me, I mean, I wouldn't have much skill, right? It's like if you could do it in 10 minutes, what it took me
Then
20
we
years
just
to
have
do.
all the fans. Jasmine for auctioneering.
I like it. I like it.
I could be a backup. We'll
You could.
see. Maybe on episode 10, I'll be so good.
Yeah, I like it.
We'll
We'll
see.
start training you right away.
Okay, so auction upcoming
Yes.
November 21st,
Yes.
Thursday. Starts at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Central.
We also have a really cool addition to this auction that we've never had before. Would you like to talk about the LED wall?
Oh, yes. Yes. We have a beautiful LED wall that we're going to be taking advantage of. Again, we are focused on creating an entertaining environment where you can bid freely, feel like you're, fully informed on what you're buying. We try to take more pictures than anyone, although that's hard because some people take a lot of pictures. But, we think we're the best at transparency of the equipment. We try to show everything. If it's missing a tire, you get a picture of the wheel missing the tire. Okay. And I think that's just very important in the industry right now because, it's incredible. All these international buyers, they sit, in Dubai, wherever, they never see the equipment. They just look at the pictures and bid and then ship it halfway across the world and hope it's what they think it is. Yeah. Right. So we're getting calls all the time. What is the model? Can we see the tag on this or that? We're glad to do it. And we understand that this market, this business is going more towards the tech side and entertainment value. That's what you're going to have. I mean, just sitting there and listening to an auctioneer, say the lot number, call the bids, sold, lot number, call the bids, sold. It gets very mundane. And let's face it, if you're going to sit there all day and watch an auction, let's at least entertain you or try. I mean, let's make it fun. Let's give away hats. Let's give away half buyer's premium. Let's make it exciting.
Yeah.
So the LED wall is going to add to that. Absolutely. And then we also have a huge in-house studio we're going to be bringing early 25. So thank you for bringing that up.
Absolutely. So November 21st, Thursday.
She's got another one.
No, she doesn't.
Not another one?
No, she doesn't.
Oh, okay.
November 21st is our next auction, and then we have two December auctions.
11th and 12th.
11th and 12th.
And we got fishing tools, fishing and rental tools, triplex pumps, nitrogen units. We could have a massive amount of coil. We're working on a deal right now to get a bunch of coil tubing units, which have been super hot in the Middle East, as well as double pumpers. So just super exciting things. If you have any questions or concerns or issues, definitely ask for Jasmine. Any great reviews or anything, ask for me. And I think we're going to be ready to go on Thursday to have a great sale.
I think so too. Thank you guys so much for joining.